Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I recently received this plant from a friend, and they said they desperately need my help to bring it back, or at least salvage whatever is left. Judging by how it looks, it's honestly not far-fetched. The leaves are turning a bright yellow. If that yellowing is only on the oldest leaf, it can be normal, since plants naturally shed older leaves to make room for new growth. However, if the yellowing is not limited to the oldest leaf and is spreading quickly, that's a warning sign. A lack of essential nutrients, especially nitrogen or magnesium, often causes yellowing that begins at the tips and edges of older leaves. So, let's begin our step-by-step restoration of this plant, shall we? Let's begin by removing the plant from its old potting medium. And already we can see that the plant is in very poor condition, suffering from a combination of severe root rot and dehydration. The overwhelming presence of dark brown and black, soft and mushy roots is a classic sign of overwatering or prolonged exposure to overly damp potting media with poor air circulation. This decay means the roots are no longer able to absorb water and nutrients, which is why the visible leaf is yellowing. The plant is essentially starving and can't hydrate, even if you are watering it frequently. While the situation is critical, there are a few small yellowish-green tips visible, indicating the plant is still alive and worth saving. To do this, we're going to need a clean pair of scissors or shears. And the first important step is to make sure your tool is sterilized before you begin. You can wipe the blades with alcohol or dip them in boiling water. This helps prevent spreading bacteria or fungi to the plant while trimming. Now, take a close look at the roots. The unhealthy ones will appear dark brown or black, soft and mushy to the touch, while the healthy roots are firm, plump, and usually silvery green when dry or bright green when freshly watered. Carefully trim away every section of root that is no longer able to provide nutrients for the plant. Make your cuts clean, avoiding tearing or crushing the tissue. Don't worry if you end up removing a large portion of the roots. What matters is preserving the healthy ones that can still absorb water and support new growth. By clearing away the damaged roots, we're giving this orchid a fresh start and stopping the rot from spreading further. If you notice any leaf that has a black spot, remove it right away. These spots are usually signs of bacterial or fungal infection, and if left untreated, they can spread quickly to the rest of the plant. Use the same clean, sterilized scissors or shears. Cut the affected leaf at the base, making sure to remove all the damaged tissue, or in this case, use your hand. Now, let's give the plant a nice quick wash using a gentle water spray. This step helps rinse away any remaining bits of decayed roots, dust, or debris that may still be clinging to the plant. A soft spray of lukewarm water works best. Cold water can shock the plant, while water that's too hot may damage the delicate tissues. As you spray, pay special attention to the crown and the undersides of the leaves. These areas often collect hidden dirt or small pests, and a gentle rinse will help keep them clean and healthy. The wash also rehydrates the surviving roots just enough to freshen them up, without soaking the plant in heavy water. Once the orchid feels clean and refreshed, set it aside on a clean towel. Let it air dry for a few minutes before we move on to the next step. And lastly, use a clean cloth to gently wipe down the plant. This will remove any excess water sitting on the leaves or crown, which is important because trapped moisture can lead to rot or fungal problems. Choose a soft, absorbent cloth or even a clean paper towel. Carefully dab around the base of the leaves, the crown, and anywhere water tends to collect. Now, let's move on to making the solution. We'll need a clean container. Into this container, add about 1 tablespoon of baking soda. This will help neutralize bacteria and fungi that may still linger on the plant. Next, fill the container with fresh, clean water. Avoid using chlorinated tap water if possible, as chlorine can sometimes stress the plant. Stir the mixture gently until the baking soda is fully dissolved. You don't want any clumps settling at the bottom. Once your solution is ready, carefully place the orchid inside. Make sure the entire plant is fully submerged under the water so the solution can reach every part of the roots and stem. We will let it sit in this bath for about 20 minutes. During this time, the solution will cleanse and disinfect the roots, giving our orchid the best chance to recover. After 20 minutes, take the plant out of the solution. Let the excess water drip off for just a moment. Now, dip a clean tissue or soft cloth into the same solution. Make sure it's soaked but not dripping too heavily. Gently brush this over the leaves, especially along the top and underside. This step helps remove any hidden bacteria, dust, or pests that might still be clinging to the surface. Wipe slowly, with light pressure, so you don't damage the tender leaf tissue. While we're doing this, have you ever heard about the Paphiopedilum rothschildianum? It's one of the rarest and most extraordinary orchids in the world. Sometimes called the king of orchids, it's famous for its striking striped petals that can spread out like arms. This orchid grows naturally on the slopes of Mount Kinabalu in Borneo. It can take up to 15 years just to bloom once, which is part of why it's so highly prized among collectors. Because of its rarity and beauty, it's often considered a symbol of patience and dedication, qualities we also practice when caring for our own orchids. Now for our next fertilizer, we're going to use soybeans. You only need a small handful, about 2 to 3 tablespoons, and place them inside a clean cup. Next, fill the cup with hot water. Make sure the water is not boiling, just hot enough to soften the beans and slowly release their nutrients. We're going to let this mixture sit for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we're going to add another special ingredient, lotus leaf. Take a fresh lotus leaf and cut it into small pieces. The smaller the pieces, the easier it will be for the nutrients to release into our mixture. Lotus leaves are well known in traditional gardening and herbal practices. They contain natural compounds that help strengthen the plant's immune system, keeping it more resistant to fungal infections and stress. By mixing it in with our soybean water, we're creating a balanced, all-natural fertilizer that not only feeds the orchid but also protects it. Now we're going to take all those lotus leaf pieces and add them into a blender. Right after that, pour in the soybeans along with the water that we let sit for 20 minutes. This way, none of the nutrients are wasted. Next, fill the blender with clean water until it's about 3/4 full. This will give enough liquid for the ingredients to blend smoothly without being too thick. Then, let it blend for 1 to 2 minutes. What we're aiming for is a fine, greenish mixture where the lotus and soybeans have fully broken down into the water. Once you're done blending, the next step is to filter out all of the compounds that cannot be broken down. Use a fine strainer or even a piece of clean cloth to separate the liquid from the pulp. Take your time with this step, Gently press or squeeze the mixture so you can extract as much of the nutrient-rich liquid as possible. What you'll be left with is a smooth, greenish fertilizer water. This is the essence of both the soybeans and the lotus leaf combined. All the important nutrients are now dissolved in the liquid form, making it much easier for your orchid roots to take in and benefit from. The leftover pulp can still be useful. You can set it aside and add it to your garden soil or compost so nothing goes to waste. To balance everything out, we're going to add about 500 milliliters of clean water. This helps dilute the mixture so it's gentle enough for the orchid roots. Give it a good stir. Make sure the liquid is evenly mixed with no thick residue settling at the bottom. Now we're going to take a clean tissue and dip it into the solution until it's fully soaked. Then gently brush it across the leaves of the plant. Make sure you cover both the top and underside of each leaf. This helps clean away dust, pests, or hidden fungal spores, while also letting the plant absorb some of the nutrients directly through the leaf surface. Once you've finished brushing the leaves, place the plant into the container of solution. Make sure only the roots are submerged, while the crown and leaves stay above the water. This is very important. Keeping the top dry prevents rot from forming in the crown. Now let the plant sit for about 30 minutes. During this time, the roots will naturally draw in the nutrients from the soybean and lotus mixture, giving the orchid a refreshing boost of strength and energy. After 30 minutes, take the plant out of the solution, hold it gently, and allow any excess liquid to drip away. Then, give your orchid a quick inspection. Look closely at the roots, the leaves, and the crown area. Healthy roots should look plump and slightly green or silvery. This means they've absorbed the nutrients well. The leaves should feel firm, and if they have a nice sheen from the brushing. Next, we're going to use cinnamon powder to seal off any trim part of the plant. This step might seem small, but it plays a very important role in keeping your orchids safe after pruning. Cinnamon is not only a kitchen spice, it is also a powerful natural antifungal and antibacterial. When you apply it to freshly cut areas, it acts almost like a protective bandage, keeping out harmful bacteria, stopping fungus from spreading, and helping the orchid heal cleanly without complications. Now grab yourself a container and fill it with clean pine bark. This is the material we'll be using as the main potting medium for your orchid. Once you have enough bark in the container, pour in plenty of water until the pieces are fully submerged. You're going to want to let it soak for a full day. Soaking the bark is an important step. Dry pine bark straight out of the bag is often dusty, and it repels water at first. By soaking it overnight, you're allowing the bark to absorb enough moisture so that when it's time to pot the orchid, it won't immediately dry out the roots. Instead, it will hold just the right balance of air and water. Now let's prepare a brand new home for our orchid. The pot you choose is very important. Always start with a pot that has clear drainage holes. Orchids never like sitting in water, and good drainage keeps their roots healthy. Take the pine bark we soaked overnight. You'll notice it feels more hydrated, softer, and ready to support the roots. Place A small layer of bark at the bottom of the pot first. This will create a cushion and ensure proper air circulation from underneath. Next, gently set the orchid into the center of the pot. Spread the roots slightly so they have room to grow outwards, not just curl around each other. This position helps the plant anchor itself better over time. Once the orchid is in place, begin filling in around the roots with the soaked pine bark. Add the bark little by little, using your fingers to guide pieces between the roots. Don't push too hard. You want the bark to support the plant, but still leave enough open spaces for air to move freely. As you fill, lightly tap the sides of the pot. This will help the bark settle evenly without compacting it. Continue until the roots are comfortably covered and the orchid feels stable in its new home. This step is like building the foundation of a house. The way you set the roots now will affect how strong and healthy the orchid grows in the months ahead. And finally, fill the top layer of the pot with moss. This thin layer will act as a natural blanket, helping the orchid retain just enough surface moisture without suffocating the roots. The moss also gives you a visual cue. When it feels dry to the touch, it's usually time to check if your orchid needs water. If you still have some of that leftover solution, don't let it go to waste. Gently pour it into the pot, letting it flow through the bark and reach the roots. This way, the orchid gets an immediate boost of nutrients and natural protection right after being repotted. Make sure the solution drains fully out of the holes at the bottom. Remember, orchids thrive best when their roots can breathe. This final touch completes the setup. Now your orchid is sitting in a clean, hydrated medium, topped with a protective moss layer and nourished with a natural tonic to start its recovery strong. After 2 weeks, you can already see huge changes to the plant. The difference may surprise you if you compare it to how it looked before. The leaves, which once appeared limp, wrinkled, and a little dull, are now becoming noticeably firmer. Their surface has regained a gentle shine, and their green tone is deepening into a healthier color. If you touch them lightly, you'll feel they have more strength and flexibility. That's a sign the orchid is drawing in water and nutrients more effectively than before. When you look at the roots, you might notice small but exciting details. The tips of some roots are now showing a bright green or silvery sheen, which means they are actively growing. Some roots may even look slightly thicker or plumper compared to before. This is the orchid's way of telling you it has started to absorb energy and rebuild its system. Pay close attention to the crown, the very heart of the plant. You might see the early stages of a new leaf beginning to push its way up. At first, it will look like a small, pale green fold, but over time it will slowly unfurl into a strong, fresh leaf. Now routine care is very important. Orchids are living beings that thrive on consistency, and just like us, they feel the difference when they receive regular attention. Start by checking the leaves every week. Give them a gentle wipe with a clean cloth or a tissue dipped in a natural solution we prepared earlier. This simple act keeps dust and pests away. It also helps the leaves breathe better, so the plant can absorb more light for energy. Next, observe the roots and the moss on top. If the moss feels dry to the touch, it's usually time to water. Remember, orchids don't like to sit in soggy media, so always make sure excess water drains freely through the pot. Watering once every 7 to 10 days is usually enough, but always let the plant guide you, rather than following the calendar strictly. Good airflow is also part of routine care. Orchids love fresh air, but not strong drafts. Place the pot in a spot where there's gentle circulation. This helps prevent mold and keeps the roots healthy. Don't forget about light. Bright, indirect sunlight is best. Too much direct sun can burn the leaves. Too little will slow down growth. By adjusting its position carefully, you give the orchid the perfect balance it needs. And there you have it. After 28 days, the transformation is undeniable. The leaves, which once showed signs of stress, are now strong, glossy, and full of life. Their deep green color reflects the plant's renewed health. Even the younger leaves are stretching upward, showing the orchid's determination to grow. The roots are firm, plump, and vibrant. Many of them have extended with bright green tips, a sure signal that the orchid is actively feeding and anchoring itself in its new medium. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I truly hope you found it both helpful and inspiring. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you'd like to see more orchid care content like this. Make sure to subscribe and tap the little bell icon. That way you'll always be notified whenever I share a new video, whether it's about rescuing orchids, encouraging stronger blooms, or simply learning more about these amazing plants. I'd love to hear from you too. If you have any questions or maybe even your own orchid recovery story, feel free to share it in the comments below. Your experience might inspire or help someone else who's just starting their orchid journey. And as always, happy growing. Take good care of your orchids, and may your plants reward you with strength, beauty, and blossoms beyond your expectations.